Who's going bowling in the Big 12? From BYU to Kansas, these teams that feel like they have the upper hand here to do so, to West Virginia, who seems to flounder, and Baylor, what are you doing here? To Texas Tech at 3-5. Not everybody can do it, but there's still a path to the Big 12 to find 10 teams bowling at the end of this season. Now, let's go ahead and lock in Oklahoma, they already have, and Texas as bowl teams. They're still in the Big 12. We'll take that money. Oklahoma State, Kansas State being a win away, they're going to go bowling. Now you look at Iowa State. They are 4-3 overall. They have Baylor coming up. That should be a win. Kansas coming up at home, the way Iowa State's playing, that very well could be a win. The Cyclones have won 3 of their last 4. BYU on the road is tough. Texas at home is tough. Kansas State at home is tough. I will say, of a team that needs 2 wins, who has Baylor, Kansas, BYU, Texas, Kansas State, my jury's out. I know that we had a conversation about Iowa State being able to go to the Big 12 championship, but at 4-3 with that on your docket and the way your road games fall, it's still going to be tough for Iowa State to go bowling this season. But Matt Campbell has that magic. Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy. Not only are they going bowling, they're going to win 8 games. Cincinnati, win. UCF, win. Houston, win. Oklahoma State is in a good position right now to win at least 8 and finish the season 8-4. You're in. Kansas State, same deal. You're in. For Kansas, before we get into BYU, West Virginia, for Kansas, you've got Iowa State on the road. Oklahoma, you host Texas Tech, you host Kansas State. That's some good home games right here. 3 of the next 4 are great home games. Then you go to Cincinnati. I'm going to check off that Cincinnati game as a win for Kansas because Cincy might finish 2-10 this season with 10 straight losses. Do I think that'll happen? Mathematically, it shouldn't. Right? That seems like a pretty out there possibility to lose 10 in a row, but it's a non-zero chance. Kansas, you're going bowling. Of the next 5 games, do I think you go 4-1? Probably not, because OU's in there. That's a road game against Iowa State. Kansas State's tough, but you got a shot to beat Texas Tech and Cincinnati. Give me a win over Cincinnati that at least gets Kansas in bowl conversation. BYU at 5-2. All you need is 1 game. Preseason, you were talking about how, if BYU could just go bowling this year, that's going to do it. And you know what? This conference has been chaotic enough that I'll give you a free pass that even going 6-6 your first year in the Big 12 is a big win. Texas on the road. I'm sorry. That doesn't look good. BYU at West Virginia. That also could sting. CJ Donaldson's great. I don't think West Virginia is all the way down and out. You host Iowa State and you host Oklahoma. One of those has to be at night. Whichever it is, BYU, you're going bowling. Congratulations. BYU's in. You're going to a bowl game. You at least get to 6-6. And you know what? If BYU does go from 5-2 to 6-6 to finish the year, don't write off this BYU team as being bad. The last 5 games on the schedule are really tough. So that of the last 5 games you get, going 1-4 in those, it's fine. I'll give it to you. West Virginia at 4-3 here. This one's a hairy one as well. West Virginia looks so good and has now lost 2 straight, including a 14-point ugly loss to Oklahoma State. Here's where things get better. You have to have a turnaround game against UCF. That's a win for West Virginia. You have to have a turnaround game against UCF and then carry it through with BYU coming to your house. If you beat UCF, West Virginia, you're going bowling, but you still have to fire Neil Brown because you're probably going to lose to Oklahoma. That Baylor game's not as easy as we thought it was going to be. Cincinnati at home, certainly a win. West Virginia beats UCF. Whether or not they beat BYU or Oklahoma or even Baylor, they go to a bowl game thanks to wins against UCF and Cincinnati. West Virginia is in. So we've talked ourselves at this point. Let's go ahead and throw in Iowa State for now. Oklahoma, Texas, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, BYU, West Virginia. That's eight bowl teams. That's a lot. And it's not madness to get that. And we're still missing Baylor. Well, again, why are you in this conversation? TCU and Texas Tech. I do have bad news to the Baylor Bears, though. I don't see a bowl in your future. Iowa State this week, I foresee being a loss. Houston, you probably beat. Kansas State on the road, that's a loss. TCU on the road, that's still probably a loss. I could see a win there. You're hard pressed. And then West Virginia at home, as good as that ground game is, you just give up 300 yards rushing to Cincinnati. If you're Baylor, sitting right now at 3-4 overall, that Texas State loss comes back to bite you. I think the Bears finish at 5-7 probably. Those wins coming against Houston at home to get you to 4 wins on the season. And then I'll give you 1 of West Virginia and TCU. So the Big 12 still sits at 8 bowl teams. I want 2 more. I want 10, double digits. We need TCU or Texas Tech. TCU is not a long shot. I think the Horned Frogs at home beat Baylor. I see the Horned Frogs. Now, say it's not a long shot, but you've got Texas Tech on the road. That's not easy. You got Texas. That's tough. You have Baylor at home. That's a win. And then you go to Oklahoma. I need 1 win from TCU out of Tech, Texas, and Oklahoma. That's... Oof. If I'm a team that's struggling for bowl contention and that's what the rest of my schedule looks like, not exactly excited. I do think TCU gets it done against Texas Tech coming up because Tech is reeling that much. The ninth team for bowl contention in the Big 12 is TCU with a win against Texas Tech and a win against Baylor. TCU finishes 6-6 this season. Fire, Kendall, Bryles. And the last one that I'll bring up, because I think we've gone ahead and closed the book on Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati making it to a bowl game. It's just not going to happen this year for you guys. For the Texas Tech Red Raiders, UCF's a win. That's a win. TCU at home's tough. Kansas on the road is tough. And at Texas, obviously, is tough. I want to see nothing more than Texas Tech beat Texas and find a way to a bowl win, but you have to go 3-1 in your last 4 games against TCU, Kansas, UCF, and Texas. You got to win your next 3 effectively. I just don't know. Right now, bowl or bust, I'm going bust for Texas Tech at 3-5. I don't think Texas Tech gets to a bowl game. I'm not crazy for saying it. You've got to go 3-1 in your last 4 after a 3-5 start. I don't see what's going to turn you around right now. Even if Baron Morton's back, I don't see what turns Texas Tech around. Tell you what, West Virginia, TCU, do they go to the ACC? This is Locked On Big 12. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's where I go. I take 2 props, I throw them in and say, you know what? You do the work. Saquon Barkley, more than 60 yards. Patrick Mahomes, 2 passing touchdowns. Parlay, boom. I can turn $10 into $250. And what I love about Prize Picks, it does a reboot policy. Even if one of your players gets hurt, you reboot. You're good. If you have one that exits the game, a player exits the game and does not return in the second half, so he's gone in the first half, not return in the second half, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with injury insurance. So right now, Prize Picks, PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. I'm going to give you a great deal here with code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100 at PrizePicks.com. Go check it out.